So dozens of House Democrats voted no or present on the resolution condemning the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Opponents say they do condemn the killing, but object to the resolution honoring Kirk's legacy. Watch this.
We can deeply disagree and come together as a country to denounce the horror of this killing. Instead, the majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans. Far from the working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution.
Well, that's her opinion. He was far from ignorant or uneducated. He was very, very well read. And I want to bring in former West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, who switched from Democrat to independent. He's also the author of the brand new book, Dead Center, in Defense of Common Sense. And Senator, great to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Good to be with you, Martha. Thank you for having me. And the book tells it all. It's how we were raised and where I was raised in Farmington, West Virginia, and how I was able to come up to the United States Senate and try to bring some common sense and some calmness, if you will, some civility, and also put our country first. And boy, I'll tell you, that's not happening now.
Yeah. So do you hear a lot of common sense in AOC, in Congress, talking about whether or not to honor this young man? These sort of things are fairly perfunctory usually in Congress. They did the same and honored the Minnesota Congresswoman who was also assassinated with her husband in her home. Why is this so hard?
Sure. Well, it's not hard for me. I mean, here's a young man, whether you agree or not, whether you believed in what he was saying or not, he was willing to speak out and let you basically sit down with him and debate back and forth. And that's all you can ask for in this great society of ours and this openness that we have. And that's how democracy flourishes, when you hear both sides of the subject and be able to speak intelligently about it. And he was always willing to go anywhere in the country and do that. You can walk away and say, I didn't agree at all, but you know what? At least he got us talking, he listened to me. With that being said, you have a horrific, horrific tragedy, and all of our hearts should go out to his family, his wife, and his children, and everybody involved with his family. And my prayers and thoughts go out, and that's the least we can do is thank you for doing all you could, Charlie. And for those who just totally disagree, which is, I guess, AOC feels very strong about that, but that's not America. That's not what we do, and it's not who we are, and it's not how we become the greatest country. We have empathy and sympathy, and we have to have basically compassion. And they've lost that. They've lost the human compassion. And I said, you know, you want a crusade? There should be a crusade for civility in the United States of America right now.
You know, I'm curious what you think about, you talk about, you're an independent. Do you think in the next presidential election that there will be an independent party? This is something that you've raised, talking about your book, and it certainly has been tried before, but it's always failed in the past.
Martha, the time is right, I believe, because you have an awful lot of people that belong to the grand old party that want it to be grand again. You have an awful lot of people that belong to the Democratic Party that want it to be responsible and compassionate, and not the extremes right now. President Trump is the person who can basically bring us together, and I'm praying that he's able to say, listen, enough's enough. Come on, we're all Americans. We've got to live in this world together in our country and keep it the greatest country on earth. We can't do it by tearing each other apart. And I'm really hoping, I believe in him, I believe he can do that. And with that being said, he's able to calm down all this rhetoric right now. And those who want to basically still spew it, then that's fine. It's going to show you being on the extreme. I believe the American Party is ready to get up and run, not associated with any one person, but people want that center left, center right. You know, I've never met a Republican that hasn't been my friend that I didn't like, and I never met a Democrat growing up that I thought had all the answers. We could identify a problem and work together to solve it from different angles. Right now, Martha, you can't even agree on what the problem is, and they want to blame the other person for the problem.
That's for sure.
That's not how it works.
The book is really so interesting. It's called Dead Center in Defense of Common Sense. Joe Manchin, forward by Nick Saban, your good friend. So we thank you very much for being with us today, Senator.
Martha, what that book does, the Dead Center says, where most Americans live their life, but the politics do not represent them. I think that's the best I can put it. And it'll show you how to navigate it.
Thank you. We look forward to talking to you in the future about the potential for an American Party. We'll see where it goes. Thank you, Senator.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.